And then there was this fundamental news in Lupin, which propelled the stock up 6%, but Dr. Reddy's wasn't too far behind, at about 2.5% kind of a move. So Pharma, FMCG, and to an extent the HDFC Twins quite dominated trade yesterday. Dharmesh Kant, VP Head of Retail Research at Motilal Oswal Securities, joins us right now on the show. Dharmesh, good morning. Thanks so much for joining in. Let's start off with the top. Let's start with the top movers in trade yesterday. There was a clear bias towards the HDFC Twins and the FMCG names. Let's talk about HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank is trading at new highs or almost there. HDFC about 60-70 points away. What's happening here? Expensive stocks, but still attracting a lot of money.
Yeah, good morning. See, always quality will attract more money and they will remain expensive. If you look at the history of HDFC, they have been expensive from last 10 years. So I don't think that should be the criteria as far as stock selection is concerned. In this economic environment where you are seeing sluggishness across the corporate borrowing as far as that is concerned, HDFC Twins stands to gain here because their focus towards the retail has been more. And I think in the global environment, which is very uncertain, and market is, though the Nifty has been rising, but the participation among the stocks has been very, defensive kind of a play or more of a surer plays, which can give you lesser return, but the risk is less as far as others are concerned. So that is the reason why you have seen names like HDFC Twins gaining traction, and I think going forward the earnings should be in line with the expectation around 20% kind of a growth for HDFC Bank is concerned, and HDFC Limited with renewed focus on housing as far as low cost housing is concerned. They also have a fair share there, so they should be gaining traction ahead. So these are the stocks which will continue to gain traction.
Well, Lupin definitely is going to be one stock to look out for. And Dharmesh, how are you viewing the stock post the EIR clearance that they got for the Goa plant?
See, it's not a very big news for Lupin. This was around a year back, this inspection was done, and just a certificate has come. But I think if you look at the pharma space, though US FDA, any news coming out from there, be it significant or insignificant, does have a price impact on the stock, and that is what we saw yesterday in Lupin. But I think Aurobindo Pharma stands a clear favorite in the pharma basket. If I have to recommend for buying a stock, it should be Aurobindo Pharma, with a clear visibility on the top line and bottom line growth, and their Activus acquisition in UK has almost a break even on the EBITDA level. Most of the production has been shifted to India, around 38 molecules has been shifted here, and they would be doing so. And going forward, their US business is likely to double from where they are standing. Around 147 NDAs are pending in US, which are more of a high margin injectable kind of product. So we spoke to the management a couple of weeks back, and they sounded very positive on the entire growth trajectory. It's still available at around 20 to 30% cheap as on the valuation metrics on FY18 earnings estimate when compared to most of its large cap peers. I think 1100 is a price target where we are looking forward to based on FY18 earnings estimate, and the stock can have a re-rating once the Activist turns profitable on the PAT basis.
Okay. Before we talk about some other stocks, I think it's 8:45, that time of the show wherein we get in some more technical ideas. So Dharmesh, stay on. Lots more to chat with you about. But first, let's get in those ideas from our experts. And Siddharth, you've given us two stocks already. What's the third idea for the day?
Well, I would stick to some of the PSU names in banking space. Canara Bank is one stock which I'm liking. We did see a substantial formation of long positions over there, and cash-based buying continues. Maybe 0.5 to 1% dip here and there, but I guess the stock is heading higher from current levels. So trade with positive bias in Canara Bank.
Right. CK, what about your positional play for the day?
Well, I'm looking at Bharat Forge and, finding that the weakness in the stock continues to persist no matter what news flow comes out and how much of value-based commentary, periodically pops up. The stock actually fell after those series of news about problems in North America and all that, and it kind of dived about 45-50% from the highs, about 1200, falling to about 700. Ever since that, the rallies for the bounces from those lows have been pretty meager and progressively growing weaker every time. Even recently, we saw another attempt to rally from the same level, and that was even more pathetic than the earlier one. So I think the stock is now setting up to break this support zone at about 710. And my sense is that the latest salvo on the same news front is probably going to do it for this stock. So I would look upon it with a lot of bearishness, looking for a target at about 650 levels. So this becomes a positional play, seeing that the stock is currently around 720.25. You can use any rallies also to initiate shorts. You can sell at the current level. I think you should plan to hold on for a while to realize that goal of 650. So therefore, it's a multi-week trade.
Talk about this with Dharmesh as well. But before that, Manas, besides Gabriel and Exide, is there any other stock that you're recommending?
Some pharma names are looking strong on the charts, especially Lupin, Dr. Reddy and Cipla. My pick would be Cipla, where stock has made a base near to 460 few weeks back, and few days back stock broke its 200-day moving average. Yesterday it breached the resistance of 510 with higher volume. So I think stock has potential to test 525, 527. So one can buy Cipla at current levels and keep a stop loss below 509.
Sachin Shah from MK as well joins in to chat about what he's liking with the market right now. And Sachin, does it seem like this consolidation in the market which we saw yesterday could very well play out today too?
Well, if we take a little, broader view, since the month of March, for all the 4 months, March, April, May, June, we've had a positive close month over month, and I think markets are up almost 18-20% now, if I take from the February close till yesterday. So there is some scope for markets to consolidate on overall level. Nevertheless, I think some of the trends have been very positive. I think monsoon, which has been the most critical factor for the Indian economy, I think so far we have seen a good trend there. Hopefully that continues. The oil prices continues to be subdued, which is another good thing. Most of the other commodity prices also continues to be subdued, which is where the manufacturing inflation is low. So I think yes, there can be some bit of consolidation due to some a sharp rally that we've seen in the last 4 months, and some of the sectors seeing a little bit of higher valuations. But broadly, I think we are in a steady state at this point in time.
Sure seem to be. But Dharmesh, what doesn't seem to be in a steady state is Bharat Forge. We're just talking about it all through the last few days. Every single month, Bharat Forge comes out with sales statistics which are record lows compared to the previous 8 months, 10 months, 12 months. So, Dharmesh, this question is for you. Do you think there is substantially lower downside in a Bharat Forge?
See, Bharat Forge business has been so diversified and it has been impacted by news flows coming from the US. So I think from here on, not much downside is there, around maybe a 10% kind of a more downside when they report their earnings this quarter. So that should see the bottom getting in place for the Bharat Forge. But going forward, as the things are being placed out, I think one should be buying Bharat Forge in a staggered manner, because the valuation gap has risen sharply. And once the revival is there in the class 4 trucks in the US, and as far as their defense projects are concerned, they gets playing out, and the normal auto sector picks up in India, and as the railway orders starts flowing in a more aggressive way. So there are too many business drivers presently which are sitting at the inflection point or about to play out for the Bharat Forge. So once that starts happening, which we expect to start ticking down in second half of FY17, so it will become a very good buy again. So what we are advising our clients is to approach Bharat Forge with a buying recommendation in a staggered manner from here on till they report their earnings. From there we will take a maybe a more aggressive call on Bharat Forge.
Well, DLF also is going to be in focus today. And Sachin, what is your own sense? Again, reports coming out that DLF has shortlisted the 6 potential buyers for that 40% stake sale in their rental arm. But, this news has been there in the market for a while now. So does it seem like at least the positives in the run-up to when this stake sale actually happens already in the price?
Well, yeah, that's a good possibility, because this news has been floating for, I think, at least maybe a quarter or 2 quarters now, and definitely there is something happening there, because as you know, the kind of the debt position that the company has, the promoters will have to infuse some capital in the company to take care of the overall debt in the company. So from that perspective, yes, I agree. Some bit of this news is already discounted in the stock price.
Sachin, I was looking at the data that you've given, and you clearly are watching out for a few key spaces, auto and auto components out there in particular. We've spoken about Bharat Forge and the kind of disappointments that it is having. I think the one on a comeback trail, at least seems to be, is Exide. Do you guys cover that one? Because it's slowly starting to show some promise. There is a change of management, and there is this insurance business embedded, which is working wonders for almost all the other players. So maybe it will work wonders for Exide too.
Well, Exide is a very, very strong franchise, and they still continue to be the leaders in spite of losing a lot of market share in the last few years. So because it's been such a strong franchise, there's always a possibility of their coming back. Nevertheless, if you see the results till even the last quarter, the results haven't seen any great color in terms of the turnaround, they're recovering back the market share or anything of that sort. That's one. Second, on the other side, if you see their competition, Amara Raja, I think it's one of the most aggressive players that we've seen in this space in the last few years. The way they have strategized their entire marketing strategy, and they've been gaining market share, and also they've been expanding a lot of capacity. So yes, there could be some bit of bump up coming back, but overall I don't think it's going to be easy for Exide to regain its lost ground, because Amara Raja over there is sitting very, very strong. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this thing pans out, but I'm in no hurry to say that Exide is going to come back very soon.
Okay. Dharmesh, the other pocket of strength, if you will, in trade yesterday were the HULs and the ITCs. Now, chalk and cheese in terms of valuations between them. What do you do in FMCG? Would you stick with either HUL or ITC and talk about the valuation there, or would you move a little bit lower to not the top grade, but a grade slightly below in terms of size, the Daburs, the Maricos of the world, because all of them are showing promise, all of them are virtually trading at new highs. Godrej Consumer, for example, slowly but surely has been the best performing FMCG name in the last 12 months.
See, definitely, yes, as far as consumption space is concerned, they are gaining traction, both in terms of business and the stock price as well is gaining traction. And I think with the way the monsoon has progressed, the rollout of 7th pay commission, and too many schemes are being launched by the government to ensure that farmers have their share of income going forward, be it the MSP price or crop insurance scheme, direct cash transfer, and their vision of government's vision of doubling the income of farmers by 2022 augurs well for this space as such, because almost all the FMCG companies drives more than 50% of their revenue from rural India. So that's a very key area to play out for. Going forward, what we think is white goods, be it electrical components, they are the space which will deliver superior returns as compared to HUL and ITCs of the world, and along with some select thematic plays like Manpasand Beverages or Imami, where we have a very bullish coverage, which we expect to perform better than the Dabur or the Godrej Consumer Products of the world. So Manpasand, we have a buy with a target price of around 75. The type of drinks, which are the food drinks, which they catered to earlier, it was only mango sip. Now they have diversified their portfolio, and there are a couple of new launches being there. The company is totally debt free. The entire IPO proceed was utilized to get the company debt free, and they have been gaining market share. What we expect is by FY18 and their market share should be above 7%, and a huge operating leverage should play out, which will have around 60% kind of profitability growth on the PAT level. Revenue growth is around 52 to 55%, which we are expecting. expecting. So that's a strong player. Emami again has played out well, and their acquisition of Cash King is likely to play out well. If you see the Jandu acquisition, which they structured well. So Emami has a brand, and they have gained good volume traction in the last quarter, which we think going forward should be the case. So these two stocks should be preferred, and yes, Godrej Consumer Product can be also a preferred play, but we would rate Manpasand and Emami higher than that.
Sachin, what is your own expectation from IT as a pack? Because it was a little worrisome the way IT came off yesterday as a sector. Would you read into it as nervousness ahead of earnings because they would be out soon?
Sure, I think there is definitely, anyways, always the first quarter for the IT sector is always a bit subdued because of their wage hikes and the margins coming overall under pressure, and this time also there is a higher visa cost and those kind of things. And of course, we've also heard from some of the large IT companies that the demand pickup has not been very great, and it could be a bit volatile during the entire year. So I think from that overall thing, IT definitely there is not too much of an expectations. I think even if you see the way the stock prices have behaved, I was just seeing some of the numbers in the last 3-4 months. IT sector overall has been the biggest underperformer to most of the other sectors. So I think yes, there is some bit of nervousness. Nevertheless, I think the valuations are also very, very reasonable. So if somebody is taking a 2-3 year view, and with the kind of vision that some of these large IT companies have to take to get a lot of business because of some of the new platforms on the digital side, mobile, and those kind of things, cloud and those kind of things, I think this is a good time for long-term investors to actually bet on some of these large IT companies.
Okay, Siddharth, just a quick 20-second answer if you can. Any IT names? CK is a sell call on HCL. Do you have thoughts here on the IT space?
So we already mentioned about shorting Infosys and TCS. So those names are still looking weak, and TCS more particularly saw a huge formation of short position yesterday. This makes overall IT index pretty vulnerable to further fall.
Okay, fine. So CNX IT looks weak, vulnerable to further falls. Between Siddharth and CK, I think they've covered all the 3 large caps which are likely to maybe correct further. Let's see what happens today. Stay on, gentlemen. 40 seconds for the pre-open session. Watch out for Lupin, and let's see if there's further reaction there. It may start off with a bit of a gap to just make up for the last minute up move that it had in trade yesterday. Hero MotoCorp could be an interesting piece of news. We'll get in the ET, Economic Times reporters who filed this story to find out more about what have they learned. And then of course DLF and Tata Steel could well, DLF is in news, Tata Steel could well be in news later on in the day, so do watch out for these 2 large caps as well. The first rates about flat, and yeah, you probably have a flat to a marginal downside on the index. You probably have a lot more downside, so 8335, maybe about 10-15 points lower could well be it for the index. Let's bring up Lupin and see what that is doing in the session today. One of the biggest performers in trade yesterday, with reason. Might well start off 3% higher. Let's see. Let's give him time and space and see what it's going to do. Bring up the HDFC Twins and bring up HUL and ITC. Those were stellar performers in trade yesterday. In today's session, starting off flat for both the HDFC Twins and ITC too. Well, flattish, if you will. HUL, I reckon, just looking at the index, there won't be too many moves out there. Tata Motors is probably showing a bit of a move, so that could be interesting. Z has had a bit of a sorry state the last few days. Maybe Z could try to recover a bit. What is going down is Bharti Airtel, 3.5% down in the first tick. Maybe that will change. So for starters, I think on the index, it's looking like Lupin will have another good day in trade. So do watch out for that one. Bharti Airtel might just have a slightly patchy day. So that is the stock to watch out on the downside. And yep, do watch out for HDFC Bank, kissing distance from a 52-week high. Let's see if it manages to eclipse that and move further.
Yeah, indeed. Zlearn should be reacting to its earnings, considering there's been a sharp expansion in margins on a year-on-year basis. They stand at almost 31% versus 22.9% in the same quarter last year. Zlearn is up by about 5% as we speak. Very smart move coming in there. Tata Motors and Tata Steel. Tata Motors, JLR reported first half sales on account of Europe demand, which was robust. But yeah, off late it's not been all that great in terms of what the European region numbers have been. But Tata Motors still gaps up by about 2.6%. The JLR retail sales for the month gone by, they were higher by about 17%, and Jaguar sales, they were up about 84%. Land Rover sales up marginally 2.6% or so. Tata Motors is a big mover in today's trading session. And Tata Steel, let's check in on this one as well, considering you're going to see a meeting being held with regards to the sale of Port Talbot in the UK. So the UK business under question now, and the future of it really. Tata Steel under pressure, down about 1% as we speak. But the rupee is open. Let's see what the first stakes are looking like. And a little bit weakness. 67.46 is where we're currently at. Weakness of about 7 paise to the US dollar. But Poonam is waiting by to tell us what the brokerage opinion is this Friday morning. And Poonam, what does the CLSA note on Apollo Hospitals have to say?
Well, Aisha, in fact, they have initiated coverage on this stock, and they're stating a buy with a target price of 1650, which is an upside of nearly 23% coming in there. Not just that, they're stating that Apollo Hospital should be benefiting from the 22% healthcare sector growth over 2020, and within which Apollo Hospitals itself is very well placed within the entire private sector healthcare space. They're stating a revenue growth coming in for Apollo Hospitals of nearly 18% CAGR, and earnings in fact to double to 710 crore over FY19. They also state that all the capacity investment that they have made in the last 3 years, now from second half of FY17, that should be bearing fruit, and turnaround is likely coming in there on account of the cash flows coming in from the investments into the new hospitals, as well as margin expansion from the pharmacies. They're also stating that they should be seeing both the margin expansion in the pharmacies and also improved cash flows to also help operating leverage, and hence a buy on Apollo Hospitals.
Okay, we're going to leave it at that then, Poonam. That's the word coming in on Apollo Hospitals. But you've also got the Economic Times reporting this morning that Hero FinCorp is looking at a stake sale, and it seems that 5 PEs are in the race for a 10% stake in Hero FinCorp. So let's chat with Sachin Dave from the Economic Times, who's written this news report. Sachin, hi, morning. What will the entire 800 crore rupees that Hero FinCorp is looking to raise via that 10% stake sale be pocketed by the company for growth plans ahead? You think that could be the eventual aim?
So, see, from what we understand, the company is planning to expand the business. And, they at the time when, NBFCs are growing really fast, Hero needs some funds to grow. And, there is also a speculation that the company might be looking at an IPO 2-3 years down the line. Although this has not been confirmed by any of the private equity, but, this could be a logical step ahead, maybe 2 or 3 years down the line. And also, at a time when a lot of the NBFCs are growing at an unprecedented pace and the deals are happening, I think that might just happen. Yes.
Sachin, Hero Group per se is a cash-rich group. Hero MotoCorp is a zero debt company. They have a policy to pay a strong dividend. So does it make sense for them to actually raise money by the PE players and sell their stake?
I think, whether, yes, you are right, it is quite a cash-rich company. They have registered a net profit of about 80 crores in the last financial year. But, I think this not more so to do with the money, but I think they want to position themselves just before an IPO, and this seems to be towards that.
Okay, Sachin. Thank you for that. That's a big Economic Times exclusive that Hero FinCorp is looking at selling 10% stake, and they could raise about 900 crore in the finance company. And talk about price action in NBFCs, just about every and any NBFC stock in last 6 months, they've got re-rated, from gold companies to consumer finance companies to even microfinance company. I think looks like the the real bull market in India is there in the entire NBFC space. PSU banks are still struggling. Private banks, they are completely overowned by institutional investors. But when it comes to NBFC, I guess the fun and games have just about started.
Well, yes, that certainly seems to be the case. But since you're on the topic of Hero, Sachin Shah, what are your thoughts here? I mean, they could raise itty-bitty amounts, but does Hero, by virtue of all that it is doing, and maybe this NBFC business as well, can Hero Moto per se as a stock be looked at for an investment case?
Hero MotoCorp actually is available at very reasonable valuation. If you see, the market cap of the company is just about 60,000 crores, and they have delivered a profit of about 3,200 crores in the year ending March 16 itself. So which is about 20 odd times on the historical number. The monthly volume numbers for the last 3-4 months for the two-wheelers have actually been done, have actually picked up. We've seen a double-digit volume growth across the two-wheelers, and even Hero Motors has been participating in that. So from that perspective, clearly there's a possibility that we might see 15-17% kind of earnings growth for next 2-3 years if the monsoon, the way they have been panning out. So that's one. This particular news, I think it's definitely a good positive thing because it's unlocking of value for the minority shareholders. Of course, we'll have to see the nitty-gritties, but on the face of it, for 80 crore profit, if you are able to get 800 crores for just 10% of the dilution, I think it's a fantastic valuation. I'm not sure if it will actually go through, but if it actually goes through, I think it's a fantastic value that the management has created for all the shareholders and all the stakeholders.
That's so true. By the way, just before we start moving back to the ideas, Dharmesh, and before we let you go as well, I don't know if you have got coverage on the education stocks, but Zlearn is posted a phenomenal quarter. So in a manner of speaking, this earnings season has gotten off to a good start. Have any thoughts here?
See, as far as the space is concerned, it looks very interesting, and right now we don't have any specific coverage out there, but I think as education as a space would be another thematic sector to look forward to going forward for next couple of years. So as soon as we come out with some good ICs on that, we'll let you know.
Just before we let you go then, what is the top idea that you guys have recommended to your clients in the last 15 days? If you can share a name.
Yeah, sure. First, the topic remains, Aurobindo Pharma, M&M, Hero MotoCorp, Scots. These are the ideas which we have been pushing. Basically, it's all cyclicals play based on monsoons and the 7th pay commission consumption kind of a play.
Okay, Dharmesh. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for your thoughts. 220 rupees for Escorts. It's been one of those stocks which has done exceptionally well.